How do I do it all? The Brezza gives me the power.
Normal service as far as heart rates and scoring rates go. From the highs of 245 being chased down last evening, we see a more median-centric 173 for 4, which is what Rajasthan Royals finished with after being asked to bat in the first game at the Savai Mansingh Stadium in Jaipur. Royal Challengers Bengaluru will need 174 now for their 4th win of the season. We unpack the first innings on Maruti Suzuki Arena presents ESPN Cricket for Timeout in the continuing company of Piyush Chawla, Wasim Jaffer, Matt Roller. Gentlemen, thank you for your company. Yet again, honours even between you guys because the score falls bang in the middle of your 177 and your 170. But 173 for 4, just as a score in itself, feels like the kind of score on which books can be written, as we've seen in the past for scores like 190 for 2. Piyush Chawla, thoughts on that innings?
Well, if you see like 174, it looks like a good total on this wicket. But I have a question here. When you lose only 4 wickets, then you should be expecting to go at least 15-20 runs extra. But that middle phase where they didn't get too many runs, where you expect the batters come and play those, smart cricket and get the scoring rate little high, there I think they fell little short, maybe in 10 odd runs.
Let's tuck straight into that. Wasim, is that then a function of Rajasthan Royals realizing that we don't have the kind of batting depth to go hard all through the innings, and is that the difference in those 15-20 runs that Piyush points to?
I think so. I think it could be the difference because when you lose 4 wickets, you expect to score, closer to 200 or 190. So, it all depends on the result. If they win, they'll be happy with the batting performance. But when they lose, unfortunately, they look back and think they haven't got 15-20 too many.
I feel like it might have been a surface that was quite tricky to start on. We saw Dhruv Jurel come in and chew up a few balls at the start of his innings. And as we mentioned in the pre-show, Sanju Samson said before, he sort of sees his role a little differently in a team where they don't bat beyond really number 6.
Yeah.
In terms of quality frontline batsmen anyway. So, I'll be interested to see how this pitch plays as the day wears on. I think we saw particularly that wicket where Krunal had Sanju Samson stumped. That ball really shot through low. It'll be interesting to see whether that continues because I think it'll be a lot easier to judge this surface once we've seen both teams bat on it.
Thoughts on the surface?
Well, the surface we know like it's little low, and low surface means you have to work little hard because you will not get those boundary options that easily. And the good part about this ground is it's quite big, so you have those big gaps and you can push into the gaps and turn that into a couple of double, triple and whatever. But at the same time, you have to be smart about your batting when you're chasing 173, 74. So it's not going to be that easy as well. So spinners will definitely enjoy on this wicket, and one more guy who will I feel should enjoy is going to be Sandeep Sharma.
Yeah, there is a lot more to build up to as far as Sandeep Sharma goes with his matchup against Virat Kohli, which is the stuff of IPL folklore. But usually when we consider the slower surfaces, Wasim, there is a lot of maximization at the top. But on this surface, even in the power play with no wickets falling, 45 for no loss. What was happening in the first 6? Was it tough to score off the new ball as well?
I think they took their time and then for a change we saw Yashaswal Jaiswal not looking to hit out of his way. He was timing the ball and it's good to see a little bit of change in his approach. Samsung took his time, what we spoke about, 19 deliveries for 15. So he took his time, but I think they went about in a more sedate way rather than hitting it and losing few wickets and losing that plot. So I think they took a more restrictive approach, I would say.
Yeah, and I think Yashasvi Jaiswal's comments in the flash interview at the end of the innings points us towards what that innings really, how it unfolded. Jaiswal said, I was trying to assess the condition, build the partnership to help us get to 170. I was trying to set the base for the other batters and give my team a good start. It's a pretty good score for us. The wicket is too paced. That's what Yashasvi Jaiswal says. Why don't we tuck into what you made of his batting? Because it did feel like, at least compared to a lot of the other Rajasthan batters, he was finding a lot more fluency.
Well, it's a kind of wicket where you need to spend time, because if you spend time on this kind of surface, you feel that the batsman is in good form, and that's what we saw with Yashasvi Jaiswal. and we know what kind of quality he carries with himself. He's somebody who likes to play those big innings, and today the way he batted, he took that responsibility, that sheet anchor kind of a role which I was talking in the show before the game. He did that exactly what the team needed from him, and if the team was aiming around 170 odd runs, so I think they're spot on with the planning then.
Yeah, he's finished with a strike rate of 160, which you would say is commendable given the surface at play. But how do you assess Jaiswal when he has to bat this way? I mean, we attribute this kind of sheet anchor batting more to, say, a Sai Sudarshan, who does it very naturally. But for Jaiswal, who we often attribute as high scoring and someone who's always looking for shot making, your assessments on this knock?
I think he needed this kind of knock, just to get into form. Once he has a couple of this kind of knock, then he can always go back and go back to his natural game of attacking. That's what I feel. He does that very naturally, playing that ultra aggressive mode, but he needs this kind of inning to get his confidence back. So I feel he played his way into form, and I think this will help him as well as Rajasthan Royals.
Yeah, if you look at the strike rates, Jaiswal was up at 159, 160, and the rest of the batters combined down at 127. So even though he was sort of looking to take the innings relatively deep, he did still score quickly, and I thought it was a pretty class innings.
All of that does feel like it is the template for what RCB's opener likes doing, a chase in the 8.5 range where he can take his time, where there is value in taking time and then capitalizing.
Well, it's a kind of wicket where you can't slog that easily. You have to play more of a cricketing shots, and this kind of a wicket, this kind of a chase will really help Virat Kohli. And on the other hand, when you have Salt, he's gonna go one way only. He knows if the ball is in his arc, he's gonna go for it. But it's not going to be that easy with considering the bounce of the wicket, the pace of the wicket. So it will be a bit challenging situation for Phil Salt. But on the other hand, it's a perfect chase for Virat Kohli then.
All right. There was an interesting thread that came up just as we were setting up for the show, Piyush, because and I find it particularly interesting because Rajasthan Royals, almost every innings, you can have a conversation around batting order and someone feeling like they've not batted where they should have. You feel Nitish Rana should have come out when the second wicket fell?
Well, I felt so because at that particular time, you're not looking at a left-hand, right-hand combination. He's a kind of guy, I think 2 or 3 innings back, he played that match-winning 80-run knock of just 35 odd balls. So you want somebody who is in good form, and when he came into bat as well today, the last ball he faced, he hit that for a boundary. So it shows that kind of confidence he is in at the moment. So I feel Dhruv Jurel has done a decent job, but I would have wanted Nitish Rana to come.
Where do you stand on the left-hand, right-hand batting combination? We can see it's a clear ploy for Rajasthan Royals. Whenever Jaiswal's fallen, we've seen Rana at 3, otherwise we've seen Parag. Is it something you agree with?
I think Nitish is a very good batter against the off-spinners. Sometimes it's hard to bowl off-spinner against him because he plays inside out and he plays sweep shot really well. So I don't mind 2 left-handers batting alongside him and Jaiswal batting. So for him to come at number 4, I think it would have been a valid thing to do.
All right, a look at the bowling scorecard, and one thing definitely stands out. Josh Hazlewood has bowled 3 overs. He did come good in the middle overs. So much for us talking about his middle over troubles. He's the one who came in, bowled a middle over, which was the 15th, 16th, and got the wicket of Yashasvi Jaiswal. But him not bowling out, have RCB got their calculations wrong?
Well, at that particular time, what's happening in the mind of a captain, you can't really predict. So he must be having some other thoughts in his mind, and that's what he went with. And Yash Dayal, generally we have seen on slow surfaces, a captain prefers him because he comes with that slower Yorker and everything. So that's the reason Hazlewood has not completed his quota.
Very early usage of Krunal. His 4 overs were done, I guess, by the 10th or the 11th over. What does that inform us about how Rajasthan may now shape up?
Yeah, it'll be interesting. We've not seen Theekshana bowl that much up front this season, but I think there might be a role for him with a newish ball today, potentially in the power play. I would say Hazlewood, very unfortunate not to have bowled out as well. I think if you consider 1 for 26 from 3 overs, but then there were 2 misfields from Suyash Sharma that probably should have been singles rather than 4s. So it could have been 1 for 20 in a very different day. I wonder whether Hazlewood should have bowled that over that Suyash bowled at the end, where obviously he did have a catch dropped off his bowling by Virat. But it'll be interesting to see whether that ends up being something that they live to regret.
Yeah, the fielding is something that I guess perhaps we may come back to at the end of this game, depending on how it pans out. Lots of drop chances listed on the ESPN Cricket Info scorecard, but two of them were relatively straightforward. There was Parag dropped on 13 by Yash Dayal, and then Kohli's drop. Does that affect Virat Kohli's mindset at all going into the chase?
No, I don't think so. Nothing's gonna distract him from walking out to bat soon. But yeah, I mean, I was surprised to see Yash Dayal fielding at point because it's such an important position. Because I think I can understand it's a left-hand, right-hand combination, so he might be fielding at deep square leg and then coming in. But those are the things you need to make sure the wicket keeper or even the captain to understand, because that's such a high percentage of balls or maybe catches go, and that can ruin your chances of those small things going wrong.
How hard is it? Can you give us a sense as people who haven't played the game to this standard on a day like this where it's high 30s degrees, you're a fielding team in a day game? Does that play on you a little bit? Are you that little bit less sharp in the field where the heat's just bearing down on you? You're mentally fried as well?
Well, more than little sharp, but you don't want Yash Dayal at point, especially against a leg spinner, because there are tendency of going more ball in that direction. And if it's about left hand, right hand, as Wasim bhai mentioned, so you can have the safest option. Make sure he's standing at short third man, and a good fielder is on point, and he can go deep square leg from there and come in point position. So these are the small little things, because he was on 13 and after that he scored some few more runs, and he has hit one couple of boundaries as well. Yeah. And these kind of chases where it's like 173, 180 odd runs, these 10, 12, 15 runs does make a huge difference.
All right. Now, everything we have assessed of the conditions, the way Krunal was used early in the innings, how do you see Rajasthan using their spinners in trying to defend this total?
Well, as Matt mentioned, that we might see Tikshana bowling up front, because Virat Kohli is somebody who will definitely take his time on this kind of surface, and Phil Salt, we knows only one way to go. So Tikshana will come in handy, and then in middle overs you'll definitely see Hasranga bowling. But at the same time, I feel Nitish Rana might come in handy, because he's more than a decent off spinner.
You would think Kumar Kartikeya is the favourite to come off the impact bench, even as we wait that.
I think so. I think he should be called in because it's a big ground. Spinners have a role to play. Day game. I feel he's the one they need to go to.
Matchups at the top. We've obviously teed up Sandeep Sharma versus Virat Kohli. He's got him out 7 times in the IPL. But there's an interesting one on the other side as well, Matt.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing Jofra Archer bowling to Phil Salt for the first time in a T20 game, which is, I think, a surprise given how much T20 cricket they've played between them around the world. But they go back a long way. They're obviously England teammates. They also spent several years together at Sussex in county cricket, and even played together in Barbados growing up as teenagers, because Jofra obviously grew up there, but Salt spent quite a few years, I think 5 or 6 years as a teenager playing in Barbados, living there with his family. So they've known each other for a long time and will be familiar with one another, even though they've not faced each other at the pro level.
Really interesting subplots. All right, the chase is almost set to begin. 174 is what RCB need for their 4th win in 4 away games and 6 games in all. ESPN Cricket Info forecaster is giving RCB a 57.4% chance. What are you giving?
60%.
To RCB?
Yes.
All right. Why don't you give me a more specific prediction?
Well, honestly speaking, this is a kind of chase where you are in dilemma that to go hard in the first 6 or not, because it's a kind of surface. And considering the surface, the good thing is you have a player like Virat Kohli who knows how to design a chase, and especially these kind of chase. So it's not 60%, I'll say 75% in favor of RCB.
All right. Wasim?
RCB to win by 3 wickets.
3 wickets.
Wow.
So lots of wickets. So is it going the distance, last over finish?
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Oracle, having called the 2nd highest chase of all time in the IPL, what are you calling now?
I'll go against the grain again with a tight Rajasthan defence by 5 runs.
So it's just very Sunrisers from you, is it? Make the bold, outrageous predictions when they land.
Yeah, that's it.
Stuff
Take the
of
credit.
social media sensation. Okay. All right. Thank you so much. Piyush, Wasim, Matt, look forward to your company. We will be back at the end of this innings. In fact, we'll be building up to the 2nd of Sunday's double headers. It's Delhi Capital, 4 out of 4 against Mumbai Indians, who are 1 out of 5 so far. Be sure to join us just a little ahead of the toss for that game on Maruti Suzuki Arena presents ESPN Cricket Info Timeout.
How do I do it all? The Brezza gives me the power.